bit of music theory with, and I want to make sure that they have this concept. And then I thought to myself, gee golly whiz, wouldn't it be great just to put this online so everybody could see it? So I am. Tell you what, I'm not going to be answering too many questions about this, but I would like people to do their best and answer those questions, or ask those questions if you have them. I'm going to turn on my iPad here and answer those questions. But today I'm just going to do a quick 5 to 8 minute video about consonants and dissonance. So when we're talking about consonant and dissonance, we're going to be zoning in on a couple key aspects of music theory, and if this is brand new to you, this might be the place for you because you get to learn a little bit about what words are, vocabulary, how to build sentences in the music foundation, and then how to utilize those and like talk about it with other students and other teachers, which we all kind of are. We're students and teachers. My teacher knows so much about music. Just like when I'm learning, when I'm teaching music to somebody who's never played an instrument, it becomes very interesting to see how much I do know and how much I don't know. When you're trying to teach these things, remember, go slow, have fun with it, and one of the constant takeaways from this is just being able to like break things down into smaller portions. So when talking about these things, if you have a question, throw it in the comment section. I will get into it. Oh, I put this on kids, so I'm not going to have it for a comment section. As my student is younger. So I'm just going to go through the process on how I do it, how I explained it today, and I hope this makes a little sense about understanding consonants and dissonances. In the key of C major, we have no sharps and flats, meaning out of the 7 notes that we have possible, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, we name them as such, the one being a major, C major, then a D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and then B diminished. When we're talking about consonant notes, we're talking about notes that are stable, and then all the other notes that essentially can be combined with these 3 stable notes. The reason why this is super interesting is when we have a series called the overtone series, we use an octave from one note to another. We then go up another octave. We can have our 5th of the chord being played, the P5, go up another octave from our P8. And then after we do another P8, we do a 3rd. Now that 3rd above here, it makes our 1, 3, and 5 vibrate or give a little bit of resonance to other notes. Meaning, whenever on an acoustic piano or on a guitar, you play something along the lines of that are played on these instruments would resonate or vibrate the other strings. Therefore, when you play pleasing chords together, like a C major, F major, G major, C, E, G, F, A, C, G, B, D, these notes change depending on the vibration and how they interact with each other. Those interactions, the whole point of this video, is that we're describing what a consonant is, C-O-N, S-T-A-N-T, consonant, stanand, I can't spell, can I? N-A-N-T. And then versus dissonant. Simply meaning there are many teachers out there or facilitators of education like myself that will explain this as being happy and this as being sad or this as being pleasing or non-pleasing or displeasing. I more or less like to teach them as notes that correlate with each other, that when you see them through the eyes of having a harmony or a triad or an extension chord, like a C major 7, the note itself, C to B flat, has a certain ambiance of symmetry. And the symmetry we wanted to talk about, we can talk about note comparison and understanding what the 2 different notes are on top and bottom. That's how we learn chords and put it together with our circle of 5ths. So this is a great exercise. Follow me now. If we had a C and then a B flat, oh, that's a horrible spell, B flat. A little better. Horrible. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're just going to use the treble clef right here. We're going to diagnose this as having our G, A, B, C. Put our C note right here. And then let's go up and see the B flat right above it. So if this is our C, we're doing C, that's not C, is it? Yeah, B, C. C, D, E, F, G, A, and then B. So when we see these, we're going to have our notes. In fact, since we have it here, just throw it up there. This is going to be our B flat. Since there is no key signature, we're in the key of C. You need to throw that flat up there as an accidental because it's not inside the key signature, so we need to mark it as such. Otherwise, it would have just been a natural. When we throw a flat on it, it's one of our choices, and then our other choice is going to be a double flat. The other way, when we augment something, not diminish it, it's going to be called a sharp, or we have something called a double sharp. There is not anything called a triple flat or a triple sharp. Therefore, those would be imaginary chords or hypothetical chords or hypothetical notes. So when we go C sharp, taking our prime and going up, we would be calling that an augmented prime. Our augmented prime could look like this, 1 plus, which is our jazz format for an augmented prime. When we augment the D, it goes to a D sharp. When we augment the E, it goes to an F. When we augment the F, it goes to an F. That's F sharp. It simply means raising it by a half step, a minor second, or a semitone. The next thing that we would do here is we would have our note below. So if this is our C, going down, we would put the note actually right here, right next to it. It touches the note because as you will get to find out, these all have names. This is the tonic or the root. When we go up here, the note in between D and C is called the minor second. So when we see our notes being laid out in front of us, we have our prime, we have our minor second, we have our major second, we have our minor third, we've got our major third, we've got our perfect fourth right here. Now in between here, our major third can be considered a diminished fourth. That can work because all notes here can be diminished or augmented, but it feels preferable to be able to call it a major third or a minor third, and then know that when we play a major third here, the opposite of a major third would be a minor sixth this way. If we had a minor third, it would be a major sixth that way. So what we're doing was we're realizing that these notes, a perfect becomes a perfect, an augmented becomes a diminished becomes an augmented, and a major becomes a minor. In this case, when we go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, we get 7 notes. 9 minus 7 equals, you betcha, what do we get here? 7, 8, 9, 2. So when we go this way, the next thing we say is B flat in the key of C. Well, let's check it out. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. We've gone through the perfect fourth. This would be our augmented fourth or our diminished fifth. This is our perfect fifth. This is going to be our minor sixth or our augmented fifth. This is going to be our major sixth. In between A and B, we have our minor sixth. This is also an augmented or a diminished. However, we don't really name it that. We use the third and the sixth as being a major or a minor. We also can have all of these be augmented or diminished, and the only prime is our tonic note, where we tonicify the root. Other than that, our 1, our 4, our 5, and our 8 are going to be our prime, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, and then perfect eighth. And every time we're looking for a note above or below, you will always use this system. The kind of concept behind this, we're going to be taking this note, 2. So when we look at going up to B, we say it's B in the key of C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. 7 notes away, but we don't have a B, do we? We've got a B flat. So are we going this way and augmenting it, or are we going this way and diminishing it? Well, we're going this way. We're going in between B and A, which means that must be a diminished note. Now, for me, that diminished second, opposite of a diminished second, becomes an augmented seventh. Another way to say this, if you wanted to write it out, is you could look at it through the form of being the A sharp, which would have been the minor seventh. I don't want to write these ones. Minor seventh or the major seventh. Here we would have our major seventh, and we would call that as such. Since we have a major, we would also have a minor. So a major seventh, minor second. That's what the correlation is between these two notes. Let's do another one, and let me get rid of this silly pen, which isn't working. Going through here again, if we're going to pick any of these notes, knowing what we know now, let's continue this. How about we pick the note of, how about D to A sharp? So D to A sharp. Let's draw it in. How about we do it, how about we do it right here? Throw in a low D right above our middle C, our prime. When we go up, D, E, F, G, A, we're going to put this note right here and make sure that our key signature says no sharps, no flats, and we have a sharp, so we're going to need to put that accent note right there. Now that we've got our C to our A sharp, we're going to go down the other way. Now I know that we're going to go down some, so C goes to B, and then right below B we get our A. In fact, we don't even need that one, do we? And because it's not in the key signature, we have to put that accidental to show that. I like to just throw this A down below because that's essentially what we're doing. We're seeing distances between integrals so we can judge them and feel whether they are consonants or dissonants. In the example of last time, we had something that had a dissonant of a minor second. It also had a dissonant of that major seventh. However, when combined with other chords, that dissonant feeling combined with a major chord makes a really interesting note, considered a 7 chord or a dominant. Ooh, when we do this, we say D, E, F, G, A. Now D to A is 5 notes. That must mean 9 minus 5 equals 4. The distance between D to A. So we say, is D and A relatable? Yeah, sure. Actually, let's do this one. Let's work on this. A. So A sharp. If I were to put the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and we play this as an A sharp, it would make sure that we know that A major has all the sharps that G does, D does, and then now A. So when we go to A sharp, we would have to sharpen these. That would give us A sharp, B sharp, C double sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F double sharp, and then G double sharp. The reason why A sharp is a hypothetical key, and we would much rather use the key of B flat, is because when we count B flat only has 2 flats, the B flat and the E flat. So when we play this, it's much easier to think B flat major than it is to think A sharp major. Because when we get to C sharp, we'd have to say C double sharp, and that's ridiculous. So we don't. In this, we would say our hypothetical key is D in our hypothetical key, A sharp to D sharp. Well, that's a perfect fourth. However, we're going to this note, the D note that's right in between the C double sharp and then the D sharp, which means we're going to have our, or actually no, that's a half step right there, isn't it? C double sharp is a D note, which means this is very confusing, isn't it? So the idea is, if we go A to here, D hypothetically is in the key, but we don't call it that, do we? We call it D sharp. Therefore, that's a diminished. Opposite of diminished is augmented, which means the distance between this note and this note is called an augmented fifth, or down here, diminished fourth. Each way we do this, we're going to have 2 different notes. Now, we're not going to be able to change this bottom note, which means that the concept is you need to know what your circle of fifths is to know a couple key notes so you can start doing analysis on these. And what we're going to or just review next week is this simple process based on what your instrument is. So in the key of C, what I'd really like you to do is get used to hearing those consonances and dissonances together, which means while you're playing your Ionian mode of no sharps and no flats in the key of C, we have a couple different options. And I'm going to leave us on this. Anybody who's watching this right now, if you dig this, we've got our notes in the key of C major. Let's just pick one scale. Let's pick our second scale preference, which would be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. What I'd like you to do is play all the notes that are in between it. So play the root, the prime, and then play the minor second. Let me see if I can use another color here. Prime, minor second, major second. You're going to do your minor third, your major third, your perfect fourth, your augmented fourth or your diminished fifth. Perfect fifth. You're going to do your augmented fifth right here. You're going to do your perfect sixth or your major sixth right here. Perfect sixth. There's no such thing as a perfect sixth. Major sixth. Minor sixth there. Major sixth. We've got our minor seven right here. We have our major seven, and then we're going back to our P8. When playing through this, you will notice that some of your fingers will feel good, some of your fingers will feel bad. The idea that I'd like you to get really groovy on doing. Oh man, sorry, my back is really killing me. Let me think. Put this down just a little bit so you can see my fingers. Get a grab of Get Fiddle, whatever your instrument of choice is. Time not putting my pinky in there. And then once you get done with just using 3 fingers, try using all 4. What you'll notice is your brain will naturally want to switch that middle finger to being the leader of this function, because what we practice is C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, E sharp, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, P sharp, C. Boom. The most dissonant note that you ever will have will be from a 1 all the way up an octave and then a half step. So C to C and then go up to a C sharp. Yeah, that is probably the most dissonance that we get. Anywho, I hope you really enjoyed this today. If you can try that, doing that for your fingers, that is a good way to start getting a little bit more freedom using your fingers. And it's an arbitrary way to experience each fret, each finger. Hello.